Spring break is almost here. And you know what is my gift to you this week? You only have this short little video and one other assignment this week. Yeah, but we need to talk. Okay, first of all, let me start by saying this. Some of you have absolutely killed it this third 9 weeks. I mean, you did absolutely phenomenal in my class, and I appreciate the effort that you put in. Some of you completely fell off a cliff. Some of you had a ridiculous amount of missing assignments, not just in my class, but in your other classes as well. And when me and your other teachers reach out and say, hey, you've got a lot of missing assignments in our class, a lot of you hit us with something like,
wow, I didn't know that. You're telling me now for the first time.
Listen, I know some of you are going through some really tough stuff at home outside of school with this whole pandemic and everything that's going on. But I've told you time and time again, if there's something that's going on in your life that's just more important than school and you need an extension on some of my work in class, reach out to me before it's due and I will gladly give you an extension. But I can't help you if you don't reach out and talk to me. And there are some people that have just lost all motivation and are just being flat out lazy, in which case my sympathy meter is at 0 for you. I don't think my 3 assignments a week is all that much, but some of you act like it is. And listen, I also know some of you have had tech issues with the Chromebooks being slow to load up, being slow to connect to the internet, or having problems with the charger. And our IT guys are great at trying to stay on top of that stuff. Trust me, they're right across the hall from me. I hear them working on stuff all the time. They get here before I do at 7 a.m. in the morning, and oftentimes they're still here way after I leave. But they can only work with what they have, and Chromebooks aren't necessarily known for being the most efficient pieces of technology in the world. There's a reason they're the butt of a lot of jokes. But if you're having a tech issue with your Chromebook, let us know. Either reach out to your academic support teachers, reach out to me, and we'll help you try to get it fixed and taken care of, or we'll give you an extension if it's needed. But again, you gotta communicate to me before the deadline of when the assignment's due. If you tell me after the fact or after you even turn it in, there's really not anything I can do to help you. Also, shout out to those of you that have reached out to me when you're confused on a topic. Like you've watched one of my videos and you're like, I still don't understand anything he's saying. And you've either commented on Google Classroom, you've emailed me asking me to clarify, or you've even agreed to meet with me in person and have me try to explain it to you again. Thank you. Thank you for being honest with yourself that, hey, I really don't understand something. And thank you for having the courage to reach out and ask for clarification. That shows you're really taking ownership of your learning and you're to be commended for that. If you haven't done that, I'd really encourage you to either to email me or comment on Google Classroom or actually to meet with me in person. I get lonely in here. Seriously, like 80% of the day is me alone in my room just staring at a screen. So again, seriously, if you don't understand something, please reach out and ask for clarification. I'd be more than happy to help you out. So ultimately, this past 9 weeks, if you slacked off, I'm really encouraging you to reverse course this fourth 9 weeks so you can build up momentum that will carry into your senior year. And let me drop a little bit of real world knowledge on you that I don't think the rest of the education world likes for you all to know. When schools and employers look at your GPA, it doesn't communicate your intelligence to them. What it does is it communicates your conformity to them. Did you turn in assignments on time? Did you study for tests? Did you basically do what you were asked by your superiors, your teachers? What that GPA communicates to them is the degree to which you will follow the orders of those above you. It doesn't communicate how much you know about history or government, doesn't communicate how much you know about math, and it doesn't communicate how much you know about science. If we're being honest, a lot of your grades are participation grades. Simply, did you do it? You might have all the wrong answers, but did you turn in the worksheet on time? And then when you do have tests over your knowledge, you end up forgetting half the material after the test anyway because you just studied it for the short term. That doesn't mean that math, science, English, and social studies are all irrelevant and that they don't still hold value to learn even if you don't necessarily remember every fact in the future. It's unrealistic for you to expect that every single thing that every single class teaches is going to be individually tailored to what you are going to need in the real world in your life. I mean, we teach a bunch of different students. Where one topic interests one student, it might bore another to death. And where one topic bores one student, it might really interest another student who thinks that they might really need that someday for their career. So there are bits and pieces of all of your classes that you're going to want to use in the real world. So the content still does hold relevancy. Back to your GPA, it communicates how well you conform to authority and how well you do what you're told. If you're an employer, you're going to want an employee that does what they're told and will go above and beyond. You don't want an employee that's going to slack off and give you trouble and not do half of what you say. So if you've got a low GPA right now, you're signaling to employers, I might do what you ask me to do sometimes. Very few people are going to want to hire that. You have a higher GPA, employers are likely going to say, this is someone that's actually going to work really, really hard in our industry. If you slacked off for a good bit of high school, I would really encourage you to end on a good note. If employers see that your GPA spiked up towards the end, they may say, hey, you know what, he figured it out at the end. But if they see your GPA slacks off at the end and goes down, they know you're not an overachiever. They know you're going to quit the moment people stop looking. So from that perspective, think of it in terms of not doing work for a class that necessarily you're not going to remember half the material for in the future. Think of it as doing work that tries to prove to your future employers, hey, I'm willing to put my nose down to the grindstone and do what is asked of me. Now, I know what some of you are already thinking. Yeah, I already got a job lined up after high school, going to work for my uncle's company. He's not worried about my GPA. Okay, that's awesome, but I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Things can change in life. I mean, did you just see what happened this past year? Millions of people ended up getting laid off of jobs that they thought they had secure in the bag for a lifetime. And on top of that, some people get into a career field, they do it for a little bit of time and realize they want to do something else. If that's the case, you've got to re-enter the marketplace and compete against lots of other people who might want that same job. I got news for you. If it comes down to you and a handful of other applicants and they see that the other applicants have a higher GPA in high school than you did, unfortunately, you just gave them an excuse to hire the other person. That can be a tough pill to swallow, especially if you're hoping to have a family someday and take care of them. They're going to be relying on you to try to get the best job possible to be able to provide for the family. It's a competitive world out there. It's like a gladiatorial arena sometimes in the job market. And that competition begins right here, right now in school. I know some of you are really good at the technical jobs that you do, and it would be a shame if your application got thrown out because your resume wasn't good enough. So the next time you're in academic support and you've got stuff to do, but instead you decide to play Call of Duty on your phone or watch TikToks, look across the room at the quiet kid busting their rear end trying to get everything they can done. That's your competition in the workforce right now outperforming you. And dare I say, the person that might get your dream job over you. So I'm sorry to get on my virtual soapbox, and I know this doesn't apply to the majority of you, but dadgummit, some of you act like you've never heard this before in your life. It just got to a point this past 9 weeks I felt like I had to put it in a video. I know none of you read your emails much anymore, especially probably the students that I'm trying to talk to with this. So there, I said it. I can now rest easy at night. Okay, 2 last pet peeves before I talk about this week's assignments. Number 1, please make sure when you complete an Edpuzzle, especially if it's after the due date, that you submit it on Google Classroom. Because if you don't, I get no notification that you completed it. So please make sure when you're done with Edpuzzles, you also submit them on Google Classroom. Secondly, please make sure that you're signed into YouTube with your CTEC Google account. If you're signed into your personal account on YouTube, maybe to listen to music or something during an academic support, when you go to play videos and assignments on like a Google form or maybe even an Edpuzzle, then the video is going to pop up and say it's restricted. If that's the case, just open up a new tab, go to YouTube, and make sure you're signed into YouTube on your CTEC Google account. If you're still having a problem with the video after that, email me and it might be something else we'll try to figure out. Okay, here's your assignments this week. You've got this Edpuzzle, which is due on Wednesday, and there's only one question here at the end. Then you have some totally optional assignments that are there to help you review everything we've learned about in the third 9 weeks. And I'm not going to take these for a grade, but these are resources here for you to do if you so choose to help you make sure you know and can recall what we've talked about the last 9 weeks. Then you have your third 9 weeks assessment, which is due on Thursday. And this is a Google form that has questions from a bunch of different topics that we talked about this last 9 weeks, from January to now. This Edpuzzle, along with your third 9 weeks assessment, will be your first grades for the fourth 9 weeks. Now, this is an open note assessment, so you can use your resources to help you answer the questions on this assessment. Now, if you have accommodations for assessments like double extended time, then your assessment is going to be due not on Thursday, but the Wednesday we get back from spring break, which would be Wednesday, April 7th. But again, that's only if you have documented accommodations saying so, an IEP or 504. Otherwise, make sure you give yourself enough time to get it done by Thursday. And that's all you got for this week. Hope you all have an excellent spring break. I hope you get some much needed rest and relaxation. I hope you come back from spring break ready to attack and dominate the fourth 9 weeks. Again, as always, reach out if you need anything and have a great spring break.